have a small question on one of the verse for chapter 4.
Okay.
So it is written that Lord Krishna mentions that we have to subdue our senses in order to attain transcendental knowledge. So the question might be arise that these senses are at the material level. And also Prabhupada mentions in the purport that when he mentions about Paragatma and Pratyagatma, right? That basically senses are after sense objects, and actually they are not related to the self. So when we talk about transcendental knowledge, it is at a self level, which is at the soul level. So why does Krishna says about subduing of senses in relation to acquiring of transcendental knowledge?
Because if see, we act through the material senses, right? Even the soul, even activities of bhakti still have to happen through the activities of the senses, which are actually material. But just that the activities of bhakti takes over the material senses. So devotional activities, though devotional activities still have to be performed through the material senses, but it doesn't happen on the material platform. It is controlled by the internal energy of Krishna. So it happens on the spiritual platform, but it is still it uses, you can say, internal energy kind of takes over the senses of the individual. Now so if one is under the control of the senses, then the person will be absorbed in material sense gratification and will not have possibly any desire to acquire knowledge in the first place. Right? Because somebody bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya parata chetsam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhavana vidiyate. So they will not become fixed in devotional service. So unless we can control our senses, which means that we are somewhat serious about spiritual life, how are we going to gain knowledge? As in, that is number one. Second one is seven mukhehi jivado. Right now, this knowledge is not simply theoretical knowledge, practical knowledge. No, for practical knowledge, we have to engage in service. Service is done through the senses. So, without engaging this body, mind, both body and mind has to be engaged in the service of Krishna. Only then we can actually come to the platform of transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, we will have gnana, but actually Krishna is not talking so much about gnana as much as vijnana. So for us to come to the platform of vijnana, we have to use body and mind both in the service of the Lord. So body has to be physically used in cleaning the temple, like Ambarish Maharaj, going to places of pilgrimage, or Krishna's pastimes happened, and so on and so forth. Right? And mind has to be engaged in reading Shastra, meditating on Shastra, applying in our life, etc., etc. So everything happens through the material senses only.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, chapter 5. Chapter 5 is named Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Chapter 3 was called Karma Yoga. Okay, chapter 5 is Action in Krishna Consciousness, because it actually gives us a clear guidance in terms of how to practically live. So this is practical Karma Yoga, you can say that way. So Prabhupada says, outwardly performing all actions, but inwardly renouncing their fruits, the wise man, purified by the fire of transcendental knowledge, attains peace, detachment, forbearance, spiritual vision, and bliss. This is in Bhagavad Gita as it is, contents for each chapter, there is a chapter summary given by Srila Prabhupada. I'm reading that. So I'm reading it again. Outwardly performing all actions, but inwardly renouncing their fruits. The wise man, purified by the fire of transcendental knowledge. Fire of transcendental knowledge, because in chapter 4 we just read transcendental knowledge. So purified by the fire of transcendental knowledge, he attains peace, detachment, forbearance, spiritual vision, and bliss. Which means that if you do karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness, then we will achieve peace, detachment, forbearance. Forbearance is tolerance, spiritual vision, and bliss. That means that we actually move towards, liberation or bhakti, all that. So karma yoga has to become a stepping stone for that. So this chapter will tell us how we should live so that we can actually reach that, eventually spiritual vision and bliss. Okay, so very practical chapter. If anybody doesn't understand anything, we should discuss. Okay. Okay. 5.1. Arjuna Vacha. Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha samshasi yachayayatayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" So, similar dilemma Arjuna was in third chapter also. Why did he come into that dilemma there? Because Krishna talks about Buddhi Yoga. So Arjuna assumed saying that Buddhi Yoga means renunciation. But then Krishna at the end of in the second chapter, he says, you have to fight. So Arjuna is confused. Okay. So then there also in the beginning of third chapter, he asks question saying that, should I fight? Should I not fight? Please clarify. Then Krishna spoke, clarified in third chapter. Again in fourth chapter, he talked about transcendental knowledge. Again, Arjuna is stuck saying, okay, you're talking about knowledge, gnana. Gnana means no work. Now, please clarify, whether I should work or not work. So that is where his confusion is. So Prabhupada explains that in the purport. In this fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that work in devotional service is better than dry mental speculation, which is gnana, as per the yoga ladder. So work in devotional service. So this is a phrase Prabhupada has coined for basically karma yoga. Because there is yoga, it is devotional service. Because there is karma, it is work. So work in devotional service means karma yoga. So karma yoga is better than gnana. Devotional service is easier than the latter because being transcendental in nature, it frees one from reaction. Okay, so this we have to understand. See, karma, what is the difference between karma and karma yoga? Karma is where we are doing action as per Vedas, but for sense gratification, meaning there is no yoga, there is no connection with the Supreme Lord. So it is for basically our own satisfaction. Okay. Now, when there is yoga, which means that why would a person engage in karma yoga? Let's answer that question first. So we should take a step back. So we have karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, or ashtanga yoga, and then bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is the final process. Okay, all processes have to finally come to bhakti yoga for them to achieve perfection. While bhakti yoga is not dependent on any other yoga practice, but other yoga practices are dependent on bhakti yoga. Person has to anyway perform bhakti yoga. Eventually, person has to perform bhakti yoga. Now, then why should one perform karma yoga? And what does karma yoga mean? Karma yoga means, okay, what is bhakti yoga? Bhakti yoga is Navavida Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So this Navavida Bhakti is bhakti yoga. Okay, and this is direct devotional service. Now, karma yoga is performed by people who are in position of responsibility, which means that they are in grihastha ashrama, because people in vanaprastha, sannyasa and brahmacharya, they don't need to do karma yoga. They don't need to do karma. Grihastha is the only ashrama where there is karma. And once we enter Grihastha ashrama, we have responsibility to take care. Okay, which means that we are responsible for our griha, our Grihastha ashram. It is our ashram and we are responsible for it. Now, if we are responsible for it, now there are two paths. Okay, one is path of karma and the one is path of non-karma. Or not doing karma yoga but just doing bhakti yoga, but still being able to take care of the family. Now this is a very exalted position. This exalted position is actually one very nice example is Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur um, was in Grihastha, but he was not doing any karma, which means that he was not doing anything to earn money. Okay, he is such an exalted devotee that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to glorify him, so that others can understand his glory. So he makes fun of Srivas Thakur once, saying that Srivas, you are a grihastha. How come you are not working? How come you're not trying to earn money to take care of your family? So Srivas Thakur says, Mahaprabhu, you know everything, but still you are saying this, so I will play along as you wish. And then he says, saying that, yeah, I am a grihastha. Krishna takes care of my family. I am engaged in full-time service. Krishna takes care of my family. And in case we don't get food for one day, our whole family will starve. Which means that first thing here, Shiva's Thakur consideration is that whole family is along with him, as in they are aligned to this thought process, which means that he's not working. Everybody is fine with that. If they are not going to get any food, the whole family will fast. No complaints. No, this one saying that, Father, you are not working, so we are not getting food. No, nothing. Fast. First day fast, second day fast, third day fast. He said even after third day, if we don't get food, all of us will drown in the Ganga and give up our life. Simple. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very happy what Srivas Thakur says. Then he tells, saying that Mother Lakshmi might, if at all there is a situation when Lakshmi Devi has to go without opulence, that can happen, but your family cannot go without food. So this is a very exalted situation. Where actually the devotee doesn't have external consciousness at all. As in, he doesn't even know that he's there in the material world, that that he has a family, that he needs to take care of it. It's like, he's not on the material platform at all. No such devotees can do that. Okay. Now, for everybody else, practically who is in Grihastha ashram, one has to do, and this is Purusha Dharma mainly, right? One has to do karma. Stree also has to do karma, but which is not vritti karma. She has to do stri dharma karma. Now this vritti, so when one has a propensity to do work, okay, now this is important to understand. Propensity to do work, meaning um, uh, either one can be at an exalted state like Srivas or Srivas Thakur, or one can be one is not very advanced in bhakti and he's just starting his life in bhakti, and he has a family to maintain now, and he also has a propensity to work, which means that I want to go earn money. He has all these propensities. He can't just sit without doing work. Or somebody is exalted but they still have responsibility to take care of their family, so they will engage in karma. Karma basically means as per Varna and as per Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, that whatever is the Swadharma, it is called Swadharma. That is karma. So one has to engage in that kind of karma. Of course, in Kali Yuga, we know there is no Varnashrama, there is no Vritti Dharma is like topsy-turvy, right? People just engage in whatever. Somehow we got into some college, somehow we studied something, somehow we got a job, and we are just, okay, that is our Vritti Dharma. But anyway, that is okay because Chaitanya Prabhu, Mahaprabhu says, Thane Sthita Stutivatam Tanvan Manu. So we don't have to change our vritti, but we have to still do yoga. So that is the important part. Whether we do as per Varnashrama system or non-Varnashrama, we have to still do yoga. So somebody who is earning money, if he doesn't do yoga, then he will be bound. He is engaged in karma bandhana. So one has to engage in yoga so that he can get rid of the bandhana, get rid of the reactions. So how is that yoga done? Yoga now in karma yoga is done in two ways. Okay, one way of karma yoga is by doing something which is directly approved, uh, like I said, either varnashrama or directly working for Krishna. So Prabhupada gives elsewhere in Bhagavatam, example of suppose somebody is a politician. Now he being a politician, he will still use his work in Krishna service, which means that he will try to create a Krishna conscious environment. Suppose somebody is a singer, he will sing about Krishna. Suppose somebody is whatever philosopher, he will talk about Krishna philosophy. Like this, somebody is an artist, he draws, paints Krishna. So in through our work, we can directly serve Krishna. Okay, this is one option. Those who are not able to do that for whatever reason have to give their results to Krishna. That becomes karma yoga. Okay, so just to summarize, so anybody who is in varnashrama, grahastha dharma has to do karma to take care of their family responsibility. It is the duty of the purusha to take care of the family monetarily, and three to take care of the family culturally, from a way of consciousness, love, affection. All these is responsibility of the lady. So both of them have to do their own karma. In terms of vritti, either it can be as per varnashrama. If it is not as per varnashrama, it doesn't matter. But either the vritti itself, one can engage in through the vritti to spread Krishna consciousness, or one can use the results of the vritti of the occupation and engage the results in spreading Krishna consciousness. So this is karma yoga. Okay, and why would somebody do karma yoga? Like I said, one is responsibility. The other is people, when they have propensity to work, they should not artificially renounce. Okay, this is also very important. See, we are not for artificial renouncing business, because we will read elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita also that a yogi does everything for purification. So we have to engage in those activities which will purify us. Sometimes people saying that, okay, this person was a brahmachari, suddenly he left brahmacharya ashram and he now is got married. Yeah, because for him that is the way of purification. So Krishna showed him the way to bringing him to grihastha ashram. So like that, everybody has their own path for purification. Somebody who's entered grihastha dharma, maybe karma is the path for purification. So we should not, unless there's a very strong reason, unless we are extremely exalted, as in, like I said, we are not on the material platform at all. Once we have this grihastha dharma, grihastha responsibility, we have to take care of it. So karma yoga is required for those people. Right now, karma yoga, we will not discuss karma yoga with brahmacharis. Okay. Because they don't really relate to this much. Okay, so devotional service is better than latter because being transcendental nature, it frees one from reaction. Now, how does devotional service directly, as in bhakti, frees one from reaction? That is clear. But karma yoga also frees one from reaction, because when we are doing karma yoga, we are working for Krishna. So it will free us from the reaction of work, which is normally obtained by one engaging in karma. Okay. Voice is very low. Okay. Is it still low? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's fine now, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So devotional service, which means in this context, karma yoga, also frees one from reaction. So this is what Prabhupada is saying. Devotional service is easier than the latter. Latter is gnana, because being transcendental in nature. So karma yoga is also transcendental because it is yoga. It frees one from reaction. Okay. In the second chapter, preliminary knowledge of the soul and its entanglement in the material body were explained. Okay, Atma Gnana. We learned about Atma Gnana, that I am not the body, I am spirit soul. Okay. How to get out of this material engagement by Buddhi Yoga or devotional service was also explained. So this we discussed. Krishna talks about Buddhi Yoga, saying devotional service, and then Arjuna gets confused. Third chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on the platform of knowledge no longer has any duties to perform. So, yeah, this also was discussed. Then fourth chapter, Lord told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. So in third also, he said one is situated in platform of knowledge has no duties to perform. Fourth chapter, he said all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. So again, Arjuna is confused. But finally, at the end of the fourth chapter, Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. So Arjuna is again confused. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Arjuna understands that renunciation in knowledge involves cessation of all kinds of work performed as sense activities. Okay, but if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? So this is a very, a very fair doubt, right? Arjuna, he knows that gnana or sannyasa involves stopping of work. Sannyasa means not engaging in any work. But if you say karma yoga, then you are still having karma there. So then how is it that you stopped karma? And why does he think that one has to stop karma? Because he thinks gnana means no work. So by doing karma yoga, how is it that you are achieving not working? As in you're not, how is it that you're not working? You're working. So then this is not gnana. In other words, he thinks that sannyasa or renunciation in knowledge should be altogether free from all kinds of activity, because work and renunciation appear to him to be incompatible. Yeah, and before coming to Krishna consciousness, it was very difficult to understand this concept, saying that how work and renunciation obviously seem to be incompatible, because one involves work, the other one involves giving up work. How can work and renunciation happen together? If work is happening, then there's no renunciation. If renunciation is happening, then there's no work. But karma yoga brings work and renunciation together, because we work not for our pleasure, but for the pleasure of Krishna. So work and renunciation both happen together, and they are not incompatible. This is the beauty about Krishna consciousness. He appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge is non-reactive. Work in full knowledge. So full knowledge of what? That we are part and parcel of Krishna, that we offer results to Krishna. This is work in full knowledge. It is non-reactive. Like we discussed, karma yoga is non-reactive. It doesn't create any reactions. And is therefore same as inaction. Because in inaction, also inaction as in sannyasa, also there is no karma phala. Similarly, here also there is no karma phala. He inquires therefore whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge. Okay, now if karma yoga and sannyasa are both at the same level, in the sense that both of them are not creating any reactions, what should I do? Should I stop work or should I work with full knowledge? This is Arjuna's question, dilemma. Okay, is it clear? Anybody has any questions? It's very important to understand this intro. Because otherwise, we can't understand the rest of the chapter.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, this is Karma Yoga, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, but in Bhakti, out of all the four, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga is more important than all the others, no? Prabhuji?
Not important. Bhakti Yoga is the supermost, right?
Yeah. Yes. So
Bhakti yoga is the final. Everything finally has to come to, as in yoga has to happen. So let me put it this way: in all processes, yoga has to happen. Karma also has to come to karma yoga. Okay, now by karma yoga, can we achieve liberation? Yes, we can achieve liberation. But can we achieve love of Krishna? No, we cannot achieve love of Krishna. And then we have to come to bhakti. Okay, and now for specifically for grihasthas, what is recommended is two pronged process. One is we do bhakti also, and we also do karma yoga. So we do bhakti yoga and karma yoga parallelly. Now, I mean, bhakti yoga is obviously superior to karma yoga. Like I said, but there are conditions for somebody to be able to do bhakti yoga. He should not have responsibility, right? If one is in grihastha ashrama and he has a family, then he needs to take care. Like he can be like Srivas Thakur, where he had a family and he was not worried because he had faith that Krishna is going to take care of his family and his whole family was aligned to that. Then that is one way of achieving things. The other thing is, if you look at the whole society as a structure, for somebody who is in grihastha ashrama, that itself is the ashrama. For one who is not in grihastha, not married, brahmacharya ashram. For one who has crossed grihastha, vanaprastha ashram. For one who has crossed vanaprastha, also sannyasa ashram. So those relevant ashrams are there. So one has to live life in that ashram. So somebody who is a brahmachari cannot live in a grihastha ashram. Brahmachari has to live in a brahmacharya ashram. A grihastha after the age of 50 should not live in grihastha ashram. He has to live in vanaprastha ashram. So which means that at a certain stage and age of our life, we also have to follow the appropriate ashrama. Because otherwise the whole society will go into chaos, right? Because what will happen is, see, the challenge of not going through a steady path of purification is we don't know whether we have actually reached maturity or we have not reached maturity. We can't make out. So when we go through purification, and what does purification means? Means we should be not affected by anything around us. If we are really at the full bhakti yoga stage, then anything around us we are not affected, because bhakti yoga, when will one achieve bhakti yoga? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochiti na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. When one reaches Brahma bhuta stage, only then he will achieve bhakti. Otherwise, right now, till one reaches Brahma bhuta, we are just practicing to do bhakti. It's not real devotional service. One has to come to Brahma bhuta. Only then real devotional service starts. So, if one is already in Brahma bhuta stage, then he doesn't have to do any work. He doesn't, then he can just give up. He can renounce if he wants. Right? But unless one has come to Brahma bhuta stage, we are in conditioned stage. So in second chapter 30 verse 31, Prabhupada explains this Swadharma. He says Swadharma means what? Swadharma means Varnashrama Dharma till we are in conditioned state. And then it is Bhakti once we are in liberated state. So Krishna has given a system so that the society can be in order, can work in a particular way. And in that process, Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga are done simultaneously till we reach Mukti. When we reach Mukti, then we can give up karma. No issues. Or somebody from Brahmacharya directly can skip Grihastha. Then he can engage completely in full-time devotional service because he doesn't have any responsibility except serving the Guru. That is the only major only responsibility for Brahmachari. But for Grihastha, he has a responsibility of taking care of all the three ashramas, because none of the three ashramas earn money. Brahmachari doesn't earn money, Vanaprastha doesn't earn money, Sannyasi doesn't earn money. So Grihastha's response is to earn money and take care of these three ashramas. And how does he do? He has to work for that. So karma is required. Superiority of one versus the other also depends on maturity of the individual, stage of life, etc., etc. Right? So more than stage of life, maturity of individual. Like I said, if one is in the mukti, he's already reached platform mukti, then he doesn't have to do any karma. In 6th chapter, we'll understand this. In Dhyana Yoga also there are 2 topics, Yoga Rurukshu and Yoga Rudha. So one is a neophyte stage, the other is a mature stage. So in the neophyte stage, one should not give up work. In the mature stage, one should give up work. So we will hear all this. I mean, in Prabhupada's purports, he will explain. Actually, 3rd and 5th chapter both should be studied in conjunction to understand Karma Yoga completely, and some parts of Dhyana also, because initial verses also kind of can be applied to Karma Yoga as well. So anyway, so that is the framework. Now, once we go through all the verses and purports, then we will kind of understand this better. Okay. I don't know whether we should. I think everybody should digest this verse, because karma, multiple things here, right? I'm saying karma is, we have to first know what is our karma, and we have to engage in our karma. Like Krishna says, karmanyevadi karaste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma pala heturbhur mate sangostva karmani. Karmanyevadi karaste. You have the right to only work. Which work? According to your swadharma. So Prabhus have their dharma, Mataris have their dharma, and in the conditioned state, it is varnashrama dharma and stri dharma. Okay. So karmanyevadi karaste. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Don't ever think that you have the right to the results. No. Whatever is will come, and you don't own the result, because you're not the sole person responsible for the action. So you will get the result. You don't worry about it. Ma karma pala heturbhur. Don't think that you are the cause also. Don't think you are the cause of the action. And more importantly, ma te sangostva karmani. Don't also be attached to not doing your work. Ma te sangostva karmani. So 2 important things. One is we have to know what our dharma is. We have to act according to that. And second one is nobody has the right to give up one's dharma. Right. So this whole concept of karma is summarized in this verse 2.47, and that is expanded in basically chapters 3 and 5 of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so kindly meditate on this verse, which means multiple things, right? Like, for example, I mean, we can keep talking about this. Grahastha dharma, one also has to plan to end Grahastha dharma. I've told this also multiple times, right? One has to plan to exit Grahastha dharma. I won't say Vanaprastha, because nobody can follow Vanaprastha as per Bhagavatam. But at least Vanaprastha simplistically put no material responsibility. So one has to move from material responsibilities to no material responsibilities. That transition also has to happen. Right? So one is, when we are in Grahastha dharma, whether we do our karma properly or not, whether we take our swadharma and stick to it, not expecting any fruits and not being attached not to do work. And second thing is that after we've lived in Grahastha ashrama, making sure that we wrap up our responsibilities well in time and exit Grahastha ashrama, which basically means no karma, no earning money, no nothing. Right? It is only full-time seva, full-time bhakti. One also has to plan or desire to switch from Grahastha to Vanaprastha, or switch out of Grahastha. So all these things, considerations have to be thought about. Okay. So I will not continue more, because let us first settle down on this topic completely. And then next week we will continue further with other verses. Still, if anybody has any questions, practical, this is not practical, that's not practical, that also can be discussed, because there is nothing that Krishna has given which is not practical. Practical or not practical is in our mind, but we can still discuss that. Okay. No questions.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay. Others are all happy?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Huh?
Yeah, the fourth chapter is about transcendental knowledge, right? So Prabhupada is mentioning it as dry mental speculation. Like, why there
No,
is
no,
a
no,
confusion?
not necessarily dry mental speculation. As in, he's not necessarily referring fourth chapter. See, Arjuna's confusion was Gnana means like Nirakar Brahman. As in, Gnana means sannyas. Previously, till Bhakti, like that is right, till Karma Yoga became established as path for grastas, or in general the understanding was Gnana. Karma, what is karma? Karma means one is involved in fruitive activities, sense gratification. Then after many years of realizing that work doesn't yield any happiness, one gives up work, right? So, and what does he engage in? Mental speculation. This is the normal yoga ladder, right? So when Krishna started talking about sannyas and all that, immediately that was the picture that came into Arjuna's mind, saying that, oh, okay, gnana means mental speculation, right? So here, see, actually, if you see the words here, first of all, you ask me to renounce work. So that means that for him, transcendental knowledge did not have any place in his thought process. I mean, his thought process was either I work or I don't work. Don't work is sannyasa, work means work. That's it.
Yes.
Right? So Prabhupada is saying that work and sannyasa, work is better than sannyasa, dry sannyasa, which is non-Vaishnava sannyasa.
Okay. And what is exact difference between third chapter and fifth? It's karma yoga and karma yoga action.
See, third chapter is more giving some of the fundamentals of karma yoga, like why was this world created, then what is the law of karma, what is vikarma. It's like what should you say? It's like foundational. It's like theory. Okay, let me put it this way. Third chapter is like gnana of karma. Fifth chapter is vijnana of karma.
Okay.
Fifth chapter talks more about how to do work. Now that you know that, so third chapter is saying, okay, you have to do varnashrama, you have to do karma, you should not do vikarma, right? So it kind of somewhat establishes the basics, right? So, okay, let's add that chapter summary. One second, let me open that third chapter summary. Okay, let's see what is covered here. See, everyone is forced to act helplessly. Prescribed duty, work done as a sacrifice of Krishna, beginning of creation, Lord created generations and sacrifice. So there's a whole lot of emphasis on sacrifice, which is part of Varnashrama Dharma. Then food offered for sacrifice, human cycle of sacrifice, where it is explaining why somebody has to do prescribed duty. Why should one do prescribed duty? But then here says, for one who takes pleasure in self, for him there is no duty, right? So this is the stage where one can give up duty, where one takes pleasure in the self. That means liberated stage. And he says self-realized person has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties. Self-realized person, like very exalted state. And then why should we do karma? Whatever a great man per action, great man performs, common man follows. So this is more of telling why, right? And somewhat Yeah, thinks himself the doer. And yeah, so more of, so it's not so much about practicality as much as more of theory. So far better to perform one's duties even though faultily, and then it ends with lust. So somewhat, I mean, my understanding is at a high level, it just talks more about framework, gnana of karma. Fifth chapter will talk more about how we should engage.
Okay, Praji.
Anyway, so as we go through the verses, see if that is what we are understanding, or if something else is coming out, then we can see. But
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, like you told, like karma yoga means when we do like varnashrama and karma yoga, it frees us from reaction. You told.
Yes. So two things here. One is, if we are sticking to varnashrama, if we are doing our vritti dharma as per varnashrama, of course, important thing is that we should, built into varnashrama is not expecting results, but I'm explicitly mentioning, saying that when we do that karma, we also don't expect results. Because, like, for example, how do we understand is, like, son of a cobbler, he just does work as a cobbler. He's not saying, okay, I have to become a millionaire, so let me change my vritti. Nothing. He says, okay, cobbler, I get 10 rupees by mending a chappal. That's it. I'm happy about that. Right? So built into varnashrama is the concept of not working for results. So it gives us, it makes us free from reaction.
So okay, so then when we are in varnashrama, we no need to actually like explicitly do charity, basically.
No, charity is different. See, no, these are two different things. See, charity has nothing to do with accumulating karma phala. By working as per the instructions of varnashrama dharma, we don't accumulate new karma phala.
Correct.
Okay, but you also want to progress towards spirituality, etc. Dana is recommended. So dana is irrespective of whether we are not doing dana to just get rid of the karma phala of our actions. Actually, by doing dana, we don't necessarily get rid of karma phala as much. I mean, except only in bhakti. In bhakti, when we use that money in Krishna service, then it becomes purified. But normal dana, like sattva guna dharma dana, like dana doesn't take away the karma yoga, karma phala of your work. You understood what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's slightly technical. Yes, Gaurav Prabhu.
One question: in is it possible that
Practical.
the current situation? No, this other question. This situation we are in right now, is we reach sannyas ashram or we stuck fully in vanaprastha at the final stage?
Okay, so it depends on individuals. So after grihastha, if that devotee is mature enough to be able to do sannyas, I mean, and that mature enough, I'm saying in a very vague manner, as in there are a lot of considerations. If somebody is able to do that, then one can go into sannyas as well. But other thing which is recommended also is that I mean, and there are conditions for that. Like, for example, one should have a son, wife should be under the care of the son, etc., etc. Now, or one can be, one doesn't have to enter sannyasa if both husband and wife are devotees and they continue in devotional, full-time devotional service, then there is no need to take sannyasa also. But it totally depends on the individuals. So it's not a general recommendation or a general rule.
Okay. Also, sir, similarly, if a devotee is sincerely following Grahastha ashram and he's following devotional life, married, kids, Does he have to enter Vanaprastha or?
Vanaprastha is mandatory. Vanaprastha, without Vanaprastha, we will not give up material attachment. See, however sincere a person is, that it's very simple, Prabhu. See, if you are in Grasta, you are chanting, how many thoughts come to our mind? So many topics to think about, right? Especially previously, people used to have at least 2 children, 3 children. So many responsibilities, this first son like this, second daughter like that, third, whatever, like there are so many things that keep coming into our mind in terms of responsibility. This has to be taken care, that has to be taken care. Now that has to be done when it has to be done. Like for example, Arjuna had to fight. Krishna did not give Arjuna an option saying that, okay, and now it is time for you to fight, but you relax, you give up your duty. He didn't do that. Right. So when it is required for us to do work, which is Grahastha, we do that. We do our work, right? But it is required that we cut off, we put a line and say, okay, after this, I'm not going to engage in material thought process, because material thought process is required if we are in Grahastha Dharma, Grahastha Ashrama. We can't simply say I'm so transcendental that I will not think about it at all. Like I said, it's a very exalted state. If we are there, then no problem, right? But if we are not there, then we will have to engage in thought process, which is material. And thought process, which is material, can't continue forever. There has to be a full stop for this material thinking. So that has to happen. Without Vanaprastha, we will not make progress. People will keep earning money till the end of their life. Like people will keep doing, their material duties. Like so many parents, right? Today, what do? Take care of their children, grandchildren.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not the work of grandparents. Let parents figure out, no, why grandparents are coming in the way, and they're spoiling. Actually, the whole society structure is spoiled because of this. What has happened? Parents have outsourced their responsibility to grandparents, and they're happily doing, okay, I like to do work, so I'm doing work. But Baba, what about taking care of your child? That is your first responsibility. Suppose say there are no parents to take care, then what do you do? Oh, then you'll say nanny, this, that, and all that. But this is all like third class. This is not first class parenthood, right? First class parenthood is like where parents are available for the children, not some nurse. Right? Tomorrow, the same thing they will do. When we require them, they will say, I will put a caretaker for you. Why do I need me? You need somebody to take care of you. No, I will put a caretaker. What we did to them, they will do to us. So anyway, I mean, I'm saying this is completely perverted thought process. Today's society, perverted. People are also suffering the reactions of that kind of thought process. So Vanaprastha, if we don't do, we will be stuck. We will just, our thought process will just continue to be full of material things. We have to break out. Renunciation. See, this, how much ever we might try, we cannot be completely renounced from things around us when we are in Grihastha. While we should practice, right? And naturally, if we practice renunciation in while Grihastha, we will not want to continue in Grihastha. We will want to get out of it. Whatever we call it, we might call it Vanaprastha, we might call it something else, but we'll say, okay, I'm done with this. My responsibility is over. But if somebody has not lived Grihastha Ashrama in a sense of renunciation, then he cannot make progress. Then if he doesn't enter Vanaprastha, he cannot make progress. So Vanaprastha is a force, like forced line saying that put a full stop, move, turn focus towards spirituality full time. That is Vanaprastha basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts? Matajis are all silent, hopefully.
Vanaprastha, in Kaliuga, right? Definitely, you told 50 years, right? That is actually.
We can't say 50, but because if you have to do 50, you should have been married at 25. You should have had your first child at 26, 27, etc., etc. right? So because we didn't enter Grasta at the right time, we cannot like force it as 50, but basically the idea is to finish off, wrap up with material responsibilities. That is the whole idea, as early as possible. Which means in another way saying that if we either we are working or not working, as long as we can take care of marrying our children, and that ends our responsibility. Okay, I think it's getting late. People are dropping off. So if there's nothing else, then we will end here. We will continue this topic on Monday, Krishna willing. Okay.
Hare Krishna.